Hello everyone and welcome to BC Voice. This week we have a very special publication and we'll be exploring this year's big question, which is, where do I belong? So we're going to go around campus and see what people have to say. Let's go. I'm here with Dr. Jamie Free, professor for the History and Political Science Department and director of the Center for Engaged Learning at Bridgewater College. So Dr. Free, we have the big question this year. So I want to ask you, can you share with us what is this year's big question and where did this originate?
So this year's big question is, where do I belong? And the question arose from a process in which we tried to think of ways in which these big kind of complex questions that can be answered by students in discussions, in reflections, in papers, in class assignments throughout the year. The big question originated about a decade ago when we started having a reason to have discussions and public discourse on campus. So it was really intended to try and create a conversation that runs throughout the academic year that students would encounter in different environments so they could realize that these questions, like where do I belong, take a lot of complex thinking, and the answer might be slightly different each time you answer the question.
Okay. Now I would like to ask, how do you all come up with the big question each year? Is it just kind of a you thing? Is it a group thing? How do we get there?
So it's a group thing. We have a list of suggestions that we get from students, from faculty, from staff, and we put them in a big list. Many of the questions get recycled from year to year, and they come back up. If they're not chosen, then they are still eligible for thinking about it for future years. And we gather together and we think about things like, how would student life be able to use this in the orientation and the welcome week stuff? How would we be able to use this in FILA 150? How would we be able to use this to generate kinds of themes throughout our endowed lectures and when we had convos, those kinds of things. So trying to get people to answer the question in multiple contexts to understand just how diverse those kinds of answers can be.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for sharing that. I'm here with Grace Howe, a freshman at Bridgewater College, majoring in liberal studies education. Now, Grace, I know you are on the track team here at Bridgewater, so can you tell us a little bit about what's your favorite thing about being on the team here and being a student athlete, and kind of how's it shaped you and your experience of where you feel you belong?
Well, track team allowed me to meet a lot more people. And also, since I've been on a team all my life, I'm used to that environment. It allows me to figure out how to problem solve and work together.
That's awesome. Okay, so definitely being a student athlete seems like one of your favorite things here. Do you have anything that you absolutely love about being on a track team and being an athlete?
Being able to work out together, fight, go through pain because we run a lot, so it hurts.
I'm here with Alyssa Holden, a sophomore at Bridgewater College, double majoring in biology and history. So Alyssa, as you know, this year's big question at Bridgewater is, where do I belong? So with you double majoring in history and biology and everything you do, I'm going to ask you the big question. Where do you belong?
I believe that I belong at Bridgewater College. The community here has really helped me dive into both majors that are so completely different. But the professors along the way have helped me kind of guide me to be able to pursue each one.
Okay. All right. And then I just have to know, for my own curiosity, what made you decide to go major in biology and history, these two completely different worlds, like you just said?
I came in with biology. I had done well in biology in high school, and I wanted to really pursue that. Upon being here, I found out genetics, which is what I originally wanted to do, was not actually what I wanted to do. But professors such as Ed Lickey, he really helped me figure out that I kind of like plants, and I like diving into plants and figuring out how they grow, what environments they grow in, and that. And then for history, Professor Kolb saw that I had a kind of a passion for it as well, and so he helped guide me into the history aspect as well.
Wow. Okay, so it definitely sounds like your time at Bridgewater so far has really helped you figure out where you belong.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing with us where you belong and your crazy double major. That is awesome. Good luck, and you've heard it here. So I kind of want to ask, how do you think and how do you feel that students being at college and getting involved really impacts helping them find who they are, or in this case, where they belong?
Yeah. So you know that the center that I run is called the Center for Engaged Learning. And I often talk about what engagement means. Engagement is that feeling that you get when you are deeply invested in what you're doing in that moment. That is, it might be really challenging and hard for you, but you would not want to be anyplace else. You find that sense of fulfillment and yourself in the moment in that place. And we want to try to increase the moments of engagement that students have while they're at college. I think Bridgewater is a great place for that. There's lots of opportunities, not just in the classrooms to find engagement, but in clubs and orgs, in residence halls, just walking around with people who you may not have met before and who have different ideas than you. Mm-hmm. Those kinds of experiences really yield the kind of practice dealing with people and finding your own joy and fulfillment that you're going to need for the rest of your life. And so paying attention to what constitutes engagement for you, how you go about finding that, helping students to pay attention to that is really one of the best services that they can get at an institution like Bridgewater, because everybody wants to lead engaged lives. And the more practice you have finding that for yourself, the more likely you'll be able to do it when nobody's there to help you do it.
Yeah, thanks, that's really great. I'm here with Daniel Jones, a senior at Bridgewater College majoring in biology. So Daniel, as you know, this year's big question at Bridgewater is, where do I belong? So can you share with us what all you're involved in and how or have those involvements impacted how you feel you belong here?
Yeah, so this year I'm an RA and I'm also involved with BSA, the Black Student Association, on their e-board. This year I'm a little less involved than I normally am. In the past I've been involved with other multicultural clubs like LSA, and I've also worked with Eagle Success through the mentorship program. But as I've gone through my time in Bridgewater, through my experiences, I've been able to see where I can best serve the community, see where I can best use my talents, and just doing that has helped me to create a space for myself where I have different groups and different people I can go to and associate with through like members of BSA, through residents and coworkers as an RA, and yeah, so my involvement has really shaped a lot of my 4 years here.
That's really awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. It sounds like you've made a lot of great connections and you've definitely done a lot. Now this leads me to this year's big question. I'm going to ask you, where do you belong?
I feel like I belong on the team because I'm on the track team, and I'm also going to be a SOAR mentor next year, and that's going to be Team Itself, and allow me to figure out to work with other people that have different viewpoints and work to a solution.
On Bridgewater's campus, I really do believe like I belong as a student or with the students. I think that a lot of my time here has been so focused on supporting my peers and being able to be a resource for my peers and doing what I can to help improve just situations and students' interactions and things. So being a student, I think, has given me the best opportunity to really be myself and do the things that I like to do. So as a student.
My answer to this question is, I belong where I can make a difference for Bridgewater students. And that may sound corny, that may sound like that's just promoting my job, but it really is what I do. I think of myself not only as having a job, but as volunteering for a nonprofit organization that I believe in. And that nonprofit organization helps Bridgewater students, and that's what I'm here to do.
Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us the big question and where it originated and everything behind it, and for telling us where you belong. Thank you so much, Dr. Freed.
Thanks, Lexi.
You've heard it here. Thank you for checking out this week's special publication. For more wonderful work, go to our website at bcvoice.org.